kick this party off. Coach, why don't you give us your assessment of first day back at practice from a distance, we should mention, and just your trip overall. How much fun you had watching your son graduate?
Well, the first thing that you want to do is be appreciative of all the people that made it work for us. You know, the coaches, the staff, the players. You know, if it's one thing I've learned in a long career, that I wanted the highest of success I could attain, but I also wanted on equal footing my family to feel a part of what's really important to me. And that's hard to do in sports. And most of us that have been in it really understand it. And I made some mistakes probably early in my life. I was very, very driven. But as an older coach and an older man, being able to understand you need both. You need to value family. You need to value your team. And so I appreciated that people made it work. It made the memory of being at Bryce's graduation from the U.S. Air Force Academy special, that we could see a victory by the storm while I was there. And at the same time, get back here and get back to work. And you know, it was like going virtual one more time. I don't really see that having to happen again. But if it does, we're built to deal with it.
Great, thanks, Coach. I appreciate that. We'll go ahead and kick it off. Open it up for some questions. If you have a question for Coach, go ahead and hit the reactions button, raise your hand, and we'll get to you as we have time. Jeff Brown, why don't you kick us off today? Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Talk about, I guess, the progress you've seen from Noelle Quinn as a coach and over the past, 2 or 3 years now, and how she did on, what was that, Tuesday?
Oh, amazing progress. You know, one of the things in my career that I've been really fortunate is a lot of my assistants, you can watch them grow. Having a 20-some year career, in the WNBA, has allowed me to watch a lot of these former players. Sandy Brondello is an example. I remember watching Sandy, but watching Noe transition from being a player, now a very intelligent player, a player that you could tell really understood things, but watching her then develop as a coach and with all the things about teaching, because no matter how you want to slice it, it's about what the players know. It's not always about what the coach knows. What really transcends success is what do the players know. And watching her be able to impart, especially offensively, she has a gifted mind. And then watching her presence grow, and coordinating with Klopp. I thought they worked together well, which, players are aware of what you say, but they're keenly aware of what you do. And watching how they work together and watching how Noe kind of has stepped into growing as a coach is thrilling to watch. And luckily I've had more than a few good assistants that have actually, I remember the times, just like, I told Noe I was so proud of handling the situations. That's the first thing I said when I called her after the game.
Awesome. That's a great response. And then I guess for the team in general, all 5 games, you've had different starting lineups. Rotations have been a bit different. So like one game, Ezzy's starting, playing quite a bit of minutes, puts up 14 and 13, but then the next couple of games, she's barely playing at all. Similar with Candace Dupree, where she's started, played a lot of minutes, and then other times not very much. How challenging, I guess, has it been, finding all the pieces and where to put them?
Well, I think that's one of the things that we need to time with to get to where I would be comfortable. we've tried to find ways to win games, just to be blunt with you. We've tried very hard to merge players into our system on the go. And we all are. I mean, it's not just Seattle that's doing this, but it's important to get off to a good start in the WNBA. I don't care how you slice it. If you look back at a lot of years, one of the things that I think is important is to get yourself out of the gate. And one of the things that I want the next couple weeks to bring as our team comes back together is the ability for us to kind of solidify the things you've said. I don't regret the fact that we've had to move pieces and be a little bit bold in trying to win games. I'm not going to apologize for that, but it's hard on players. It's hard on coaches. And you want to get to the point where we can, we can build, and especially build a deeper type of consistency of play. And I think with time we can do that. But I think that is a lot of the discussions I've had with players of late have been trying to move towards that. But unfortunately, it's, we're still kind of waiting to put every piece together on the floor that can help develop these things. And I do applaud the players for finding ways for us to win basketball games. And that's not easy to do. It's not easy to do, but I'm hopeful that the coming couple weeks, we can put people in I am very much a coach that likes to have players kind of understand here's where you're probably going to come in, get yourself mentally ready, all those kinds of things. I haven't had the luxury to be as much like that as I typically can, but at some point I like to give that to players so they kind of know, here's where I'm coming in, here's who I'm typically playing with. These are the things we play to. And that will be important in the next couple of weeks as we finally become whole.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Percy, why don't you go ahead, Percy?
Awesome. Hey, Coach, just like wondering, just the thinking behind going with Noe for the game on Tuesday as opposed to Klopp, who led you guys all of last year.
Well, it was not a one or the other type of thing. I never did that. I asked Noe to take a lead on offense. I took Klopp to take a lead on defense. I asked Klopp to communicate with the officials. I asked Noe to communicate with the players. It was never like, it is, I mean, even if you study us right now, how we kind of work with each other, it's not all about Dan Hughes. It's certainly not built that way. It's kind of built for us to kind of work together in situations. And it was really laid out that way. When I went through the different things to kind of cover, and to do it, it was more of a working together than it was, okay, this is yours and like that. So I really wasn't like that person.
Awesome. And then just your thoughts on then the last play in the fourth quarter. If you were there, would you have called a different play?
No, not necessarily. I would have leaned on Noe, to be honest with you. She and I think she has a very good way and a very creative way that is a little different than me, but we talk well. Like when I talk to her, I'll say, boy, this would be a good time to get a screen here. It's Stewie coming off of this or coming out of that. And then she, in her mind, is very good. So we have, we could have easily have done the same thing. And I think what you saw, though, was, we're still kind of formulating that picture together as a team. I understood what they were doing and I saw it, in regard to it. But I think with a little more time, you're going to see the way we play off each other. We have a system that is very open-minded. It's very open. It's not a rigid system. There's a lot of read and react and space and all those kind of things. And what I saw happen, I think that we'll get a little better at that. But the other thing that I saw happen was what you saw the team really do was respond in the overtime aggressively to get themselves in the lead, which is really important in overtime play.
And then just with, all of the moving parts, if you will, that's going on with your team, you're still leading the league in offense, but this defense is kind of one that I don't really recognize. What's going on that end of the court for you guys?
Well, when you say recognize, I think what had happened over 218, 219, and 220 was an evolution of players in roles and a sophistication of things that we can do. And with kind of a situation where we have new parts with the team, I don't think we have that sophistication yet. I think probably the lane we're on is trying to do the beginning things better, and hopefully we can get to the sophistication of what we're doing. We don't turn people over quite as readily yet. Now, I do think there could be some lineups if we can get to the point that we evolve a little bit, that could be a little more disruptive. What you're seeing, though, is a team that's a little more dependent on the rebound, a little more dependent on their length. And we're still mastering that art a little bit. And when we do play out of our defense, we go to another level offensively. And you can really see that. And that's why we've been a little spurty. But you've also seen the team be able to, fourth quarter situation, be able to get stops and then play out of them. But I think our sophistication is going to come as the year goes on. I think we're going to have to get better defensively. I know we're working at it. I think philosophically, there will be some lineups that can be a little more disruptive than others, but we have good length and we have the potential to rebound if we do it properly.
Awesome, Coach. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Percy. Kevin, go ahead. Kevin Pelton.
Hey, Coach, not a new experience after the last couple of years, but what was it like watching the team play an overtime game back and forth, not being away from the team?
Well, we have a little experience with me doing that, and that's the only thing that was good about it was that, I sat there, I was with my wife, I was with my daughter, who know me really well, and my grandkids who kind of were interested in the game and kind of not, a little bit of that, but they went to bed. And, I talked to the TV, which is probably not particularly helpful, but I do talk to the TV. And nothing against the broadcast. I don't listen to the broadcast. I turn the broadcast off and I watch that and I make notes. That's what helps me kind of move things along. And you get frustrations with not doing things well. You get applause when things are done well. I certainly understood a lot of what's going on. I applauded kind of how my perception of what I could see on the screen of how the coaches were working with the players and the players were communicating with the other players. You get a view of those things pretty readily going on. And then, you search your soul a little bit about why you're not there. But if there's one thing that I want to exemplify at this stage of my career and exemplify to younger players is the importance of taking care of family. It's important that you learn how to do both. And sometimes that means you have to work some hard situations. Today's my wedding anniversary. I'm 43 years married to today. And I wanted a career of excellence, but I also wanted a family that it worked too. So those two things really matter to me. And so in one hand, I feel bad not being there, but in the other hand, I'm thinking, there's a little message here too, that we can work together in ways we can empower each other. And when somebody's not able to be there, whether they're injured or what have you, we can step up. Same situation here. But I am sure it would be interesting for my family to give you their perspective of watching me watch the game, and I won't go into that one. All right.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Kevin. And forgive me, my Greek's a little rusty, but Aris, is that right?
Yes, Aristides, Aris, call me Aris, better. Hello,
Go ahead.
Coach.
Thanks for joining us. Go ahead with your question for Coach Hughes.
First of all, congratulations because you are on top of Western Conference. And I will ask, how do you evaluate your team performance so far after the first 5 matches?
Well, I applaud the fact that through a lot of unique situations, as far as putting the team on the floor, being new, I applaud the fact that we've kind of made it work to this point. We haven't made it work in a great separation. It has been winning close games type of situation. But I applaud that, and I don't know how else we could have done it. It was not going to be a smooth, easy. Everybody's together. Everybody's familiar with what they're doing with each other type of things. Luckily, we have some staples. You have some real staples in Sue and in Stewie and in Jewel, and some other players that also have corporate knowledge of what we're doing. We had to lean on that. What we did with each other wasn't about 221. Some of it had to do with what we knew back here, the corporate knowledge that they brought to situations. So I applaud that. I know we got a lot of work to do. We want to develop a lineup that's a little more deeper and a little more sophisticated in some of the areas we're playing. So it's going to take teaching and learning as we go into the season. It's that regard. That's why it reminds me of 218. I think our defense went through an evolution in 218. But we got to do that again. And I think our lineup as a whole, as we gear into a consistency of play, we've got to gain that confidence too. So we're a work in progress, but I love the fact that the players have made it work, to the level that we have.
All right, quick, we got to
Thank
get
you,
you out of here. Oh, sorry. We got to get Coach out of here. He's a little past his time. All right, so thank you for joining us, and the rest we really appreciate you having you on. And Coach, glad to have you back. We'll have Candace Dupree on here in just a moment.
Y'all take care. Thank you.
Hey, Candace, thanks for joining us. I see the girls are there. Hi, girls.
Zoo day. We're at the zoo.
That's awesome. My kids are begging to go to the zoo. All right, let's give you a chance to do that and get some questions in here real quick. Percy, why don't you kick us off? Go ahead, Percy.
That is so awesome, Candace. Way to go. Hey, by my count, you are 43 points away from moving into 4th place in the WNBA's all-time scoring list. I'm just curious, what would it mean for you to pass Cappy Pondexter and to know that only DT, Tina Thompson, and Tamika would have more points in this league?
I mean, that's a heck of a list, and obviously some really, really good players on that list. To pass Cappy, she was a heck of a player. I don't give too much thought to that kind of stuff. The only way that I know how I'm doing with those stats is if you tell me, or the people around me, or Jeff comes to me like, hey, did you know? So, I mean, it's pretty cool.
He's good for that. Hey, I remember the first time we talked, and it wasn't just you and I, the first time that you talked to the folks out here, you said that the reason that you chose Seattle was one, that they sort of came with you with the right offer, that you want to go to a place that was contending for a title, but you also want to go to a place where like it wasn't all about you. We're early into it, but just your thoughts on your role and your fit.
I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit. Actually had a good conversation with Dan this morning. So, just still trying to figure it out. Still early. We've played a decent amount of games, but I think, like you heard him say, just trying to get the rotations down and all that kind of stuff, figure out who's coming in when. So work in progress.
He referenced last week a conversation that he had with you that you initiated, in which you came up to him and you talked about matchup and you talked about lineups and the moving to the bench. I'm not trying to get too far into the weeds, but how much can you sort of talk about that and why you felt that you need to go to him to sort of bring those things up?
Probably because I observe a lot and I have a good idea as to what, coaches are thinking sometimes. And I could tell that he was looking to probably start a bigger lineup. So I was like, hey, it makes sense, especially against Vegas. So I think, certain teams like Vegas and Phoenix and maybe even Minnesota, when they do have some of these bigger players, it's not a bad thing to do.
And think just this last thing from me, but I hear that, but you're also Candace Dupree. And you've been doing this for 16 years a certain way. I just said earlier, like all of the points that you scored, over 6,000 points a certain way. Can you still be Candace Dupree and do it? This last game you play like 7 minutes. Can you still be Candace Dupree if you play 8 minutes?
No, I can't. So that's something, like I said, that has to be figured out. Like I said, I had a good meeting with Dan this morning. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I expressed to him, I understand the whole matchup thing, but these are also players that I've been playing against for years. And, once you start to learn player personnel and the things that they like to do, and you try and take those things away, it definitely works in your favor. So we'll see what transpires.
I hear it. Hey, and I'm sorry, this is one last thing. I don't mean to sort of take up all of the time here, but it was last month that you talked about Haley in like camp there, and it probably wasn't surprising to you to see that she got picked up today. I remember that you really raved about her ability to shoot.
No, I'm happy that Phoenix picked her up. She did a really good job in training camp and definitely made it difficult for the coaches, to make a decision on who they were going to keep and who was going to go. So super happy that, she's been picked up by them.
Awesome, Candace. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thanks, Percy. Kevin, go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Candace, your first 3 of the season the other night. I've always been curious about the one season in Chicago back in 2009, where I think you made like 17 of them and then, didn't really shoot a lot of them the rest of your career. Has that just kind of never been a comfort thing for you to step out beyond the arc?
After that season, I believe is when they moved the line back.
Right.
And so I was kind of like, whatever, but it's definitely something that this past off season, not going overseas and having the opportunity to really work on my game. That was definitely an aspect of it that I put a lot of work into. So hopefully I'll get up more attempts this season.
Got it. Thanks.
No problem.
And Jeff Brown, go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Candace. So I was talking, and you kind of touched on this with Percy already, but I was talking with Coach Hughes kind of about this balance of rotations and everything, like for you and even players like Ezzy who have played a lot of minutes, and then other times, obviously you're getting limited minutes. Like how challenging is that to like get yourself ready for games when it's, you don't really know how much you're going to be out there?
It's definitely difficult. Something that I am not used to, that I haven't done in my entire career, if I'm being honest. So I actually told him that I wasn't a fan of the whole yo-yoing back and forth. Like, I would prefer to know what my definitive role is and see how I can help in that capacity. But it's definitely not easy. Takes a lot of mental preparation, I think, more than physical preparation, if anything.
Absolutely. And then how do you kind of balance that also with the team winning? So like coming from Indiana, which obviously they had struggled the past few seasons, now with Seattle, you guys have started 4-1, one of the best teams in the league right now. But obviously maybe not having as much of a role. So kind of where's the balance there?
That's a great question. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely happy that we're winning for sure. But just trying to figure out where I fit in and all of that has been the biggest challenge. So we'll see how it goes moving forward.
Definitely. And then is it the Woodland Park Zoo?
It is, and it's
Nice.
starting to rain, so it might be a wrap for that.
Oh no. I hope you guys have fun.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Candace, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for joining us. I really
All right, no
appreciate it.
problem.
Hi, girls. Have a fun time at the zoo, and we'll see you later.
All right, cool. Thanks.
And we'll move to, we've got Mercedes Russell here, sporting the Ducks sweater. I like it. All right. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off for Mercedes here. Jeff, why don't you kick us off here?
Yeah, Mercedes, something, I guess, so I think when you were coming into the league, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I feel like you were more about an offensive player, and that was kind of more the highlights of your game. But now I feel like since you've come back, and especially even last year in the finals, like I thought you did a fantastic job limiting Asia, and just talk about having that more defensive role now, and the impact that you can have, not just on the offensive end, but also defensively.
Yeah, I mean, just my size and my length on defense is so important. So I really focused, just improving defensively every year. And I think as a team, obviously we play good defense together, but being a strong defensive presence is huge for us.
And then let me see how I can ask this. Like, you do such a great job of kind of limiting some of those bigger players. Obviously, your size helps, but is it so Ezzy's, she's comparable in size. Like, is that something that she just needs to get maybe a little bit stronger? Cause it seems like, they have a little bit more easier time kind of backing Ezzy down.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, this is just her second year in the league, and I'm pretty sure I was the same my second year of the league. I think, just with experience, it's really going to help her. Nothing about, like size or weight, but just the more and more that she plays, you learn so much every year just with the speed of the game, in the WNBA. So, it'll come. Definitely.
And then probably last one for me for right now. Just talk to me about that game against Connecticut. Obviously, super exciting game, back and forth battle, Jonquel Jones just going off and everything. And I guess your overall thoughts on that game.
It was fun. It was super exciting. Obviously, they were coming in undefeated. So it was a big game for us, especially defensively. I think they lead the league in O boards currently. And as a team, they get a lot of O boards. So it was important for us. And I think we did a really good job limiting their offensive rebounds. Obviously, Jonquel, with her missing the bubble last season, now she's back in full form, as you can see. But I think as a whole group, we did a great job defensively for the whole game. And we came out with a really good win.
Awesome. Thank you, Sadie.
Thanks, Jeff. Percy, go ahead.
Awesome. Hey, Sadie, I'm curious if we can sort of get into like the idea of who sets the best screens in the league right now.
Can I vote for myself?
Yes, you can. Of course you can.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously there's a lot of talented bigs in the league. I feel like there's a lot of people that you could say to set good screens, but I would definitely put myself in that category.
And, just for the uneducated or just sort of, folks who don't know, just how important is that one skill set of just being able to set screens?
Oh yeah, it's super important, especially us having scorers like Jewel, Stewie, Sue. I mean, scorers like that, setting them a good screen is a great opportunity as a team. So I mean, setting a screen is not only helping your player, but also, I mean, every player around you. So screening is very important.
And just how hard
Always.
is it? So I remember like your first year that you sort of not sort of struggle with it, but you would get some offensive fouls, there. Just
Yeah.
what is the art then of setting a screen and not getting that offensive foul?
Yeah, I mean, man, it's definitely just, it has a lot to do with the pace of the game. So, I mean, some teams are going to play aggressive defense. Some might play, stand up wall, like let you get to your spots. But like screening is so important. And I think it just varies with team to team because obviously they're working on different schemes. Maybe they ice, maybe they trap or whatever. So, I mean, the screen is going to be at all different angles, and it's just important to get the offensive player open. But I would definitely agree with you. Like my first year, I feel like as a rookie, the game is so fast because you're just coming into the league, obviously. And I think I've definitely grown in these past couple years just with the pace of the WNBA.
And then to kind of compare some, and I'm just gonna keep going because I don't see too many hands up here.
Okay.
The idea of screening for your teammates. If you can sort of take me through it a bit here. I had a chance to talk to Jewel about this. She loves you as a screener, obviously, but if you had to rank, who do you like screening for? Jewel or Jordan or Sue or Stewie?
What? Honestly, I like screening for all of them. I'm gonna be real. Because honestly, all four of them, they're so different offensively. So I mean, I could screen all four of them and we could get a different look just from that one screen because every player is so different. And I honestly, seriously, I love screening for all of them. Obviously, Jordan's quickness, Stewie, I mean, she's so athletic. Jewel, I mean, her offensive skill set is insane. And then obviously Sue. I don't even have to say anything about Sue. But yeah,
So-
honestly, I would enjoy screening for all of them.
So I'm guessing that a screen for Jewel is more of her coming off and curling up to get the spot up. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Or making a play, obviously, but just getting her open to have space either for that pull up or drive to the basket.
And then for Sue and then Jordan, are they looking more to slip you a pass down low?
Yeah, but I feel like Sue might come off and pull up for the three.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay. All right. And then just my last thing is who would be then the toughest players to screen? Like who are like, I just never set a good screen on them, or like who would you like to really lay a shoulder into and just knock them?
I mean, no one specifically that I could think of right now. Maybe ask me that in a couple weeks. I might have a different answer.
All right, Sadie. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Percy. Jeff, you got a follow up, Jeff Brown?
Yeah, I was just going to talk. So tomorrow you guys play Minnesota and just talk about the difficult matchup with Sylvia Fowles and like all the challenges that she brings.
Oh yeah, she obviously brings a huge challenge defensively to every team. Her presence inside is huge. I mean, it has been her whole career. So obviously that's a focus of ours, playing against them. But at the end of the day, it's a team game. And so we just got to put together a full game and then hopefully we can come out with a win.
And then probably last one for me. We haven't really had a chance to see Kiki Herbert Harrigan much on the court yet. But I guess what are you seeing from her in practice that's maybe standing out?
Oh, I mean, I've known Kiki's game for a few years. I played against her in college. And so She's, I mean, stretch four, can shoot the three, can drive, long and athletic. She's a fun player.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Thanks, Mercedes, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank
We'll be
you.
out there tomorrow. We'll watch you play. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow.